Governor Romney.
All across America, you've got families sitting across from sitting in their living rooms and their kitchens, sitting at the kitchen table with a calculator and a checkbook, seeing if they have enough money to make ends meet for the month or the week. You got people who are sitting at that same table filling out job application forms, knowing that there are hundreds of other people that are doing the same thing for the same job. These are tough times for a lot of people in this country, but we are a patriotic people. We place our hand over our heart during the playing of the national anthem. No other people on earth do that. And if we're led by a leader who draws on that patriotism, who tells the truth, who lives with integrity, and who knows how to lead, America will remain the hope of the earth and the strongest nation in the world. I'll do it.
Governor Perry.
Americans want a leader who's got a proven record of job creation. Number one, we get rid of Obamacare. Secondly, we pull back all of those regulations that are job killing today, whether it's Dodd-Frank or whatever, it's the EPA. And then we sit with Congress and we lower those corporate tax rates, we lower those personal tax rates, and then we put our plan to make America energy independent, and that is the way you get America working again.
Congressman Paul.
Government destroys jobs, the market creates jobs. So the government isn't going to be expected to create the jobs. They have to change the environment. But you can't do that unless you understand where the depression, recessions come from. And you can't understand that unless you know where the bubbles come from. I've been arguing this case for 20 years and warning about bubbles and housing bubbles and NASDAQ bubbles, and a lot of other economists have been doing the same thing. Until we understand that, you can't solve the problem. You have to deal with the Federal Reserve System. You have to deal with free markets, and you have to deal with the tax program and the regulatory system. Then you can get your jobs, because the people will create the jobs, not the government.
Waiting for the applause, Speaker Gingrich.
32 years ago, we were in the same place. We had a failing president. He gave a speech on malaise. People wrote about the presidency being too big. Nobody could do it. The Soviet Union was an offense. And a leader came along. He said, when your brother-in-law is unemployed, it's a recession. When you're unemployed, it's a depression. When Jimmy Carter's unemployed, it's a recovery. Nothing will turn America around more than election night when Barack Obama loses decisively.
Senator Santorum.
The last words Ronald Reagan said as President of the United States in his farewell address, he was concerned about the future of our country because we were forgetting who we were, didn't remember what Americans was really all about. I think that's what's the problem right now, is we have a president who doesn't understand what America is all about. America is a great country because we are a country that believes in God-given rights to every single man, woman, and child in America, and that we built this country from the bottom up, believing in free people to have that responsibility to live their lives in service to themselves, their family, their community, and their God. And in so doing, we transformed the world. We had a leader in Reagan who believed in you. President Obama is the new King George III, who believes in things being dictated from on high. We need to replace him to someone who believes in the American people again.
Governor Johnson.
My next-door neighbor's 2 dogs have created more shovel-ready jobs than this current administration. Balance the federal budget now. Not 15 years from now, not 20 years from now, but now, and throw out the entire federal tax system, replace it with a fair tax, a consumption tax that by all measurements is just that. It's fair. It does away with corporate income tax. If that doesn't create tens of millions of jobs in this country, I don't know what does.
You just made your neighbor's dog very famous. When we come back in just 1 minute, the final round, we'll be talking about the Republican ticket. We're back from Orlando, Florida.
All right, one of the coolest tools that we've had tonight from Google is the word clouds that you put together. Explain what you've got in this one.
Well, so this word cloud takes a look at the other category. We had a lot of categories people could submit questions to: national security, immigration, foreign policy, healthcare. Then we had another category, a category where you could put questions about whatever your issue is. And this word cloud shows the words people use in those questions the most.
All right.
So the bigger the word, the more often it was used.
What stands out to you, Chris?
Obama. That's all the Republicans really want,
him.
is somebody who can beat Barack Obama and possibly Gary Johnson's neighbor's dogs.
Yeah, that's going to show up. We're going to do a word cloud on his dog. But in addition, we've got Constitution, we've got Congress, we've got tax. And Perry, I mean, that's the candidate name that jumps out from that particular word cloud.
Well, look, the whole crux that the Republicans are looking for right now is who can beat Barack Obama. That's what it basically comes down to, these folks. They're watching these debates, they're thinking about it, but Obama looms over the Republican Party, and right now the question is, who is the dragon slayer for the GOP that can do this for him? It's tough.
All right, we're back to the debates live.
Welcome back to Orlando for our final round, our final question from YouTube. Our wild card question comes from Darrell Owens in Richmond, Virginia.
If you had to choose one of your opponents on the stage tonight to be your running mate in the 2012 election, who would you choose and why? And why would this person help you make the country better?
Again, if you had to choose a running mate, one of the people on the stage with you, who would you choose and why? 30 seconds down the road. Governor Johnson.
Sorry.
Well, that would be the guy 3 down, Congressman Paul. And that would be the notion that this country is about liberty and freedom, and that right now we are facing an extraordinary crisis, that if we do not address it now, we're going to find ourselves in a monetary crisis that is going to leave us all with nothing. And if we want to look at an example of that, that would be Russia, that experienced a monetary collapse that in our lifetimes may never require. We need to avoid that now.
Senator Santorum, who would you choose?
I would pick someone who would do what I have articulated I would do as President of the United States. That's what a vice president should be, someone who would follow through on what you promised the American public to do.
You have 8 to choose.
And I would say that, right now that, the guy that I'm agreeing with most up on stage is probably the guy to my left. So I would say that Newt Gingrich would be the guy that I would pick as someone who would follow through with what I'm saying.
Speaker Gingrich.
Yeah, I'm going to disappoint those in the audience who want this to be a Hollywood game. I don't have any idea who I would pick as the vice presidential nominee. What I do know is it would have to be a person capable of being president of the United States, and that would be the first criteria. These are all good friends of mine. I couldn't imagine hurting any of their feelings by choosing one tonight.
Congressman Paul, heard away.
I don't plan to make a choice at the moment because I am on national polls. It seems like I'm in 3rd place now. I think it would be inappropriate. As soon as I'm one of the 2 top tier, then I will start thinking along that line. But right now, I'm going to defer and just work very hard and make sure that I stay in the top tier and then eventually be one of the top 2 contenders.
Governor Perry, how do you answer Darrell Jones?
Well, staying with the game show idea here, I don't know how you would do this, but if you could take Herman Cain and mate him up with Newt Gingrich, I think you would have a couple of really interesting guys to work with. I don't know how you'd do it.
Governor Romney, Darrell Owens would like an answer.
There are a couple of images I'm going to have a hard time getting out of my mind. That's one, and Gary Johnson's dogs are the other, I'll tell you. I'm going to go with Newt on this meeting. I'm going to subscribe to his same view. I know I'm going to disappoint. But my view is if you pick a vice president, if you're lucky enough to become the nominee of this party, Picking a vice president is to be something you give a lot of thought to, a lot of evaluation to, and you want someone who, without question, could become the president of the United States. These people could all fill that position. Any one of them would be a better president than what we have now.
Governor Romney, I hate to follow up here, but you called Governor Perry unelectable based on his Social Security.
Actually, I didn't use that term, but the newspaper did. That happens now and then. But the point is still, I think that there's some problems that exist in each of our backgrounds that make it harder for us to get elected. I hope we get elected. I hope one of us gets that White House. I think we will, because I think this president has failed miserably. But I'll tell you one thing. Governor Perry and I disagree on some issues. I think I probably disagree with everybody. We all have different views on different issues, but one thing's for sure. We all agree that President Obama needs to be former President Obama, and we're going to make that happen.
Congresswoman Bauckham, back to the original question.
Obviously, we need to have a strong constitutional conservative, and that's what I would look for in a vice president. But I want to say this as well. Every 4 years, conservatives are told that we have to settle. And it's anybody but Obama. That's what we're hearing this year. I don't think that's true. I think that there's any year, President Obama has the lowest public approval ratings of any president in modern time. He hasn't gone to the basement yet. It'll be a lot lower than what it is now. That's why we need to choose a candidate who represents conservatives and constitutional conservative positions.
Mr. King.
This is a game, and it is hypothetical. I'll play the game. If Governor Romney would throw out his jobs growth plan and replace it with 999, he has a shot. If he does not, I would probably go with Speaker Gingrich, who I have the greatest admiration for, in all seriousness, because of his history and because of his depth of knowledge. I could go on because I have respect for everybody up here, but it's a game.
It is a YouTube question. Governor Huntsman.
I'm tempted to say that when all is said and done, the two guys standing in the middle here, Romney and Perry, aren't going to be around because they're going to bludgeon at each other to death. But I'm also reminded of about 4 years ago, we had two front runners in similar situations. One by the name of Rudy Giuliani, I think, and the other by the name of Fred Thompson. They seemed to disappear altogether. I can't remember where they went. But I would have to say, since Chris Wallace doesn't qualify as somebody on the stage, so I can't pick one of you, that Herman Cain, because of his selection of ties, the fact that we both apparently agree with the gold standard, wearing the yellow ties here tonight. And because of the good neighbor policy, 999 mixed with my tax policy would be the most competitive thing this nation could ever achieve. I'd have to say Herman's my man.
Candidates, thank you very much. That is it for our debate tonight. Our thanks to the candidates and their staffs. A big thank you to our debate partner, Google, and the Florida Republican Party. To all the great people here in the Orange County Convention Center, and of course the state of Florida. They could not have been more hospitable. Stay with Fox News Channel, America's election headquarters, all the way to the general election and the inauguration.